Hey guys, so today I have another ranking video, and this is going to be my top 30 games from the year 2022. These are all going to be games that were released that year. And the reason I go back to 2022 is because I think it was like during the COVID time, right? So yeah, I think that's the year when I really started to play a lot more games. I mean, I was already playing a lot of games and putting them on YouTube before. But yeah, I guess I kind of increased the amount in 2022. And I think I ended up playing like almost 300 games that year. So yeah, that's why I'm going to do a video for 2022, kind of in retrospect, because I already did videos, my top 30 games that I played in 2023 and 2024. So let's go back to 2022 because that's kind of the first year where I really started playing a lot of games and putting them on YouTube. Like at a faster rate, I would say. I was already doing that before, but I just increased the rate in 2022. So yeah, let's check out the top 30 games that were released that year. All right, so we're gonna start off with an honorable mention as always, and it's gonna be Pentiment by Obsidian Entertainment. So Pentiment is interesting because this is actually an Obsidian developed game.
Peter.
It's probably, Peter. I would say, out of Obsidian's developed games, it's probably the most low key. Like, Obsidian's titles are like usually like based on big franchises, right? Like they did Knights of the Old Republic 2, they did South Park, they did Fallout New Vegas, notably, right? Neverwinter Nights 2. So they usually take an established existing franchise, right? And they make it their own, and you know, usually
actually,
they do a pretty good job.
After the fall of Constant.
Usually they do a pretty good job of that.
Scallion,
but they also make original titles too. So they made Pillars of Eternity. That's probably the most well-known original title is Pillars of Eternity, and nowadays probably Avowed as well. But I don't know how many people know that they made Pentiment. I mean, this game is probably, it just kind of slipped under the radar. I mean, they made this game and it came out, and I think it was so low-key that people didn't really like find out about it, I guess, or know it existed. But it's a very unique game. I mean, even for Obsidian, it's a very unique game. It's set in the Renaissance era of medieval Europe, I think.
To them if they're only going to say,
so
hey,
it's like it's set in like the 14th century of Europe, like, and everything is kind of done in that style. It's like the art style, the font style, the way that text boxes, like the font style and the scenery, the graphical style. Everything is kind of influenced by the Renaissance or medieval era art, which is very cool. So I think this is probably one of Obsidian's most underrated titles. I mean, they made quite a few titles. I think, I also think Tyranny is pretty underrated, to be honest. I think that's another game people don't talk about enough. But yeah, Pentiment, I think this game should be, well, a little bit more well known. Because I think the art style is so unique in this game. Like you see, like it's done in the style of these Renaissance medieval era books. Yeah, everything just looks like it came out of a medieval era, Renaissance era book. And it's an adventure game. It's not really an RPG, so that's also something that's a little bit different. So I would say this is out of Obsidian's games, yeah, this is definitely worth a look because this is not what they usually do. This is like a low-key title, kind of almost like an indie title. The art style, setting, everything's very unique, and it's not an RPG. It's an adventure game, so it's a little bit different than what they usually do. So, anyways, Pentiment I think deserves a little bit more. I think it deserves a little bit more love. I think people don't talk about this game enough. Probably because it was so low-key when it came out. Okay, so I have another honorable mention. This is Jack Move. I also like playing this one as well. This is a cyberpunk RPG done in a retro style. Of course, this is an indie game. And you play as this girl whose father kind of got kidnapped, and you have to find out why the government's after his work and research and stuff. So there's a mystery. So yeah, I do like the colorful graphics in the dystopian cyberpunk style, but also I think especially the gameplay. The gameplay is pretty interesting. So of course you go around this dystopian neighborhood talking to people and stuff. But I think the combat's actually pretty interesting. So the combat is actually this over-the-shoulder, kind of pseudo 3D combat style, and then you use these different types of attacks. And yeah, it's you fight like different types of enemies, and depending on the type of enemy and the type of attack, they can be weak or stronger to or resist it and stuff. But overall, I think it's pretty cool. You know, I haven't exactly seen this kind of perspective in a combat in RPGs before. Like I've seen over the shoulder and first person and side view, but never exactly like this. So it's pretty interesting, and it's got some old school style to it because it has random encounters. These days, I would say more often than not, you don't see random encounters much anymore. But yeah, this game has random encounters, so it's pretty old school in that sense. So yeah, I like playing this game. Going around the different the dystopian neighborhoods and stuff, and yeah, just the interesting combat system, I would say. So yeah, Jack Move. I think I had to mention this game because I did have a lot of fun playing it. Love the setting, graphics, gameplay, and actually music was pretty good as well. So overall, it's just a pretty solid indie RPG, one of my favorites. Yeah, probably one of the best indie RPGs I've played in recent years. Okay, another honorable mention I have to talk about is Chinatown Detective Agency. This is kind of interesting because it's like sort of like a point-and-click adventure, but also this investigative type game as well. Yeah, so it's done in the retro pixelated style as a lot of indie games are. But yeah, you get to go to different neighborhoods and stuff in this futuristic environment, and yeah, you get to go into different locations using the subway line, actually, which is pretty cool. And you'll see you actually do travel using the subway, and then you talk to people, you do some investigations, you try to follow a trail. You play as this Indian American woman, I think, which is actually pretty interesting. Not many games you get to play as an Indian American girl, but yeah, pretty cool. You get to unravel some sort of secrets and stuff. 300.
300 it is.
That's a lot. Yeah, you could dial different numbers to call people if you need them. Also, what's cool is that you can actually travel to different places on a plane as well, not just a subway. So you can use the subway to travel, but you can also book a ticket to other places around the world, depending on who you need to follow. So here, I think I'm waiting on the airport, and then yeah, I can go to Istanbul here, right? Like I booked a ticket to Istanbul, and then I can arrive in Istanbul. And there's a lot of other cities you can go to as well.
This is like booking.
Like here, I just went to yeah, Istanbul. I think it's just arrived here. But let's see, where else could I go here?
So gotta wait about 2
yeah, there's a lot of different actually places that you can go to. Oh, like here I went to Hong Kong, right?
Hong Kong
so yeah, I traveled to Hong Kong. There's a bunch of different places that you can actually book a flight to.
I think Blade Runner is
which is actually really cool. So yeah, I had to mention this game. I think it's actually kind of ambitious. Chinatown Detective Agency. Not many people will talk about it. I mean, but it's actually a pretty cool game. It's got like point-and-click adventure aspects and mystery, investigative aspects to it. And yeah, these are a lot of places you can go. You can go to like London, Mexico City, New Delhi, San Francisco, Shanghai, Singapore. That's actually pretty impressive. You can go to all these different places in this game. Okay, let's start off with number 30, Turbo Overkill. So this game was pretty surprising to me when it released because the publisher is Apogee. And Apogee is a name I'm very familiar with because I played a lot of shareware DOS games back in the day. And Apogee published a lot of shareware DOS games back in the early to mid 90s. So I didn't know they were still existing. I'm surprised that Apogee still existed, honestly. But yeah, this is a very fast-paced retro-style first-person shooter done in the 90s style, which I prefer actually. I actually don't like the 2000s FPS games because you start to get slower cinematic scenes like Call of Duty and Battlefield. I don't like that as much. I prefer the 90s faster-paced FPS style. So it focused less on the story, but more on the, the killing. So Doom, Quake, Unreal Tournament, that style, I prefer that more. And Turbo Overkill is indeed that style. And it's a good thing that we're beginning to see more and more of this style these days. We're beginning to see like more indie devs come out with these old school 90s FPS style games. So Turbo Overkill being one of them, but another one came out the exact same year, 2022, which is Proteus. Proteus didn't actually make my list because I think I prefer Turbo Overkill a little bit more. But Proteus is still a good one. Just mentioning it because it did come out the same year, 2022, is another fast-paced FPS game. But yeah, Turbo Overkill is great. There's also Ultra Kill, which came out in 2020, Sulaco, which came out in 2023. Yeah, you're going to see more of this. Hands of Necromancy, Raven, a Medieval can be considered kind of like this, Dusk. Yeah, a lot of these old school style FPS games are coming out these days, which is a good thing. But yeah, Turbo Overkill is great. It's a great throwback to the 90s style fast-paced FPS, and yeah, this is indeed a very, very fast-paced FPS, I would say. There's another one I played called Bullets Per Minute, which was insanely fast. But this is not as quite as fast as BPM, but I think that it's still a really, really fast-paced FPS. So, anyways, I really liked it. Yeah, you just basically load up your weapon and start killing, and go to the next area and start killing, continue killing, you know? That's what I like, just fast-paced action FPS, back to the basics. Yeah, none of that cinematic story stuff that you see with Call of Duty. Nope, just killing. That's what it's about, fast-paced killing action. Anyways, Turbo Overkill made my list just barely at number 30, because there's actually a decent number of great games that came out in 2022, of course. So it was, yeah, this is just the beginning of a great list.
Just save my money next time to get a grenade launcher.
Okay, so number 29, I have Shadows Over Loathing. This is an RPG game that came out, well, 2022. All the games this year in this video came out 2022.
Oh, okay.
But this is the sequel to another RPG called West of Loathing. And I like this one better, Shadows Over Loathing. And it's actually, both of them are good. And they're done in a unique style, if you guys can't tell already. It's done in the stick figure style, which is really interesting. Yeah, basically, it's an RPG where everything, the art style is like stick figures. Yeah, everything is like drawn as stick figures. But it's done in a good way, right? It actually has a good amount of humor in it, and there's a lot of detail actually paid attention to this game. I mean, it looks like this game was very low production budget because of the art style. But there's actually a decent amount of content in this game, and a lot of yeah, a lot of work I think was put into this one. So don't get fooled by this art style. I think it's actually pretty unique.
Oh crap!
Even though you have this stick figure style, I think it's done in a very unique way. Doesn't look like any other RPG that I've played. You have a turn-based combat system, and yeah, I think it's a worthy sequel to West of Loathing. I should prefer it actually over to West of Loathing. But yeah, Shadows Over Loathing, pretty interesting, unique RPG, I'd say.
It wouldn't be such a thing the next
So yeah, that's why it makes my list here at number 29. If you guys are looking for a very unique,
there's a weird plaque related to this.
Yeah, very unique indie RPG to check out, then highly recommend checking out this one. Yeah, see, this is all the dialogue options here. Yeah, these are all some of the different monsters that you can see. Yeah, anyways, the art style is definitely very charming in this game. No, I don't think there's any other game like it. Alright, so number 28 is Excavation of Hobbs Barrow, which is a retro-style point-and-click adventure game. And you play as this girl who is, well, she doesn't want to call herself that, but she's essentially a gravedigger. So she's looking for this location called Hobbs Barrow, which she's looking for treasure, basically. Yeah, and as you guys can tell, it's done in a retro pixelated art style, which I like. I think this is reminiscent of the early 90s when it comes to point-and-click adventure games. And yeah, I really loved playing this game. I thought there's definitely a sense of mystery in this game. You're trying to find out what happened. I talked to one of the drunk guys, and then eventually, like, he just disappears somewhere, and I try to find him and try to look for him. And nobody wants to talk about Hobbs Barrow, or they just pretend it doesn't exist. So there's some mystery there.
Good night, Stanley.
Sleep well, Miss Bateman.
Yeah, and you're in the English countryside, so it definitely has that flavor to it. And I think the whole vibe of this game is set in the early 1900s or something like that. It seems like it.
Betty, nice to meet you, Betty. What are you
Yeah,
up to?
and then you're looking for this guy called Mr. Shoulder, who's not there.
No, it's the impression of a.
Yeah, so anyways, I did have a good time playing this game, actually, you know. Then there's flashbacks as well, right? This is a flashback to my father fell ill in this game, right? So, yeah, overall, I think it's a very well done point-and-click adventure game. So if you guys like the retro, early 90s point-and-click adventure games, this one I think has just as much charm, I think. Overall, I really enjoyed the story. Oh yeah, there's a part where this cat comes in and you have a nightmare about the cat.
Huh. This is cat dirty.
Oh man, it looks kind of scary. This cat gets up on my bed. So yeah.
Sorry, miss.
Yeah, so definitely I think if you guys are into retro point and adventure games, Excavation of Hobbs Fair was a good one. And yeah, definitely one of my favorite games that came out in 2022.
For brother?
I think it really nails the sense of you gotta investigate stuff, there's some mystery, a little bit like, you know, horror and stuff even, because you're trying to find out what's going on, and suspense, so I think that's all there.
Oh my god.
Alright, speaking of something that's more horror vibe and horror themed, Faith the
What the
Unholy
heck,
Trinity is
Some
my
crazy
pick for
sound
number
comes out with
27.
these guys whenever they come.
Yeah, so this game is done in very low fidelity style. It's done in the Atari style, actually Atari 2600 style.
You never know when this arachnid thing is gonna come from.
Yeah, but
so.
it's still like very effective,
can't
even
run
though
in
it's
this
low
game.
resolution
So
and
that's an
everything. It's
issue.
still very
And
effective at being scary because you have
Crazy
this
speech.
you have these low fidelity speech. Oh no, I don't know if I can make it. Come on, man.
Oh man, barely made
Yeah, so yeah, this little monster
sweet.
creature chases after you.
horror monster.
And it just it suddenly appears, right? And then it kind of shocks
Haunted
you, and
house
then
is going
you have this low, you have this
Damn it.
low fidelity speech.
How dare you put a
and
long haunted house here?
I just think it's done like
That's
really
just a
well,
tease,
and
man.
yeah, it's
That
a
is a
unique thing
tease.
as well. You don't see too many games that try to be like Atari style and also using
I'm just gonna
Atari
stay
level
at the edge of
speech
the-
as well, which is very interesting. Yeah. So
too slow.
oh man, I think I
Yeah,
got
so I
killed
guess
there.
when I'm doing that, I'm just
Ugh.
purifying souls of their spirit or something.
Yeah, so
Doing
there's
this
definitely some
until we
creepy
find
vibes in this game for sure. Oh man. So yeah, now I'm in this
Now it
haunted
reminds me a bit of
house,
Clock Tower.
and yeah, I believe
Reminds me
there's
a
a
bit of Clock
spirit
Tower.
inside this haunted house as well. And yeah, even though it's like low resolution or whatever, low fidelity, it still ends up being very creepy.
Amy.
So I had to give props to the games devs here for making a very scary Atari type of graphics and that type of game, right? Like it's like done in this style, but it's still very, very scary. So yeah, so I'll show you guys what
And
happened. I think
this game is using this lack.
yeah, so
It
if
suddenly appeared and killed
this
me.
yeah, this spirit appears.
So yeah.
Oh. Yeah, see that's creepy. She is here. Yeah. And it does that. And then once you like try to escape her or whatever, I think oh yeah, I have to use the little cross to
that's
make
right.
her go away, otherwise I get killed. Anyways,
There we
this
go.
game is done very well as a
Jesus.
very interesting presentation for a horror game.
Okay, I
And they have
escaped.
Moonlight Sonata playing in the
Yeah,
background, looping around, which also adds to the ambiance as well. So yeah, if you guys are looking for an interesting horror game with very unique aesthetic, check it out. Alright, so for number 26, I have Dune
Cerberus,
Spice
as far as
Wars.
qualified.
This is a 4X real-time
Oh,
strategy
build a
game.
Cerberus.
And based on the Dune franchise. The Dune series is actually probably well known for the real-time strategy games, I would say, because they kind of pioneered the genre. Dune 2 was, I would say, the first popular RTS game. So that came out in 1992, and Dune 2 really inspired a lot of other real-time strategy games since, right? Like Warcraft came out after Dune 2, Command & Conquer came out after Dune 2, Total Annihilation. All those games came out after Dune 2. Dune 2 really was, yeah, it was a pioneer of the RTS genre. So, yeah, so the Dune series has had a lot of history with RTS, and it's good to see like them having like relatively more modern RTS game like this, the Dune Spice Wars, and I enjoyed playing it. I think people were into RTS games. There's been a few good modern RTS games, like Age of Empires 4 is a good one. The Tempest Rising is the one that actually came out this year. That was pretty good in my opinion. Yeah, and the newer Industrial Annihilation as well. But yeah, I think Dune Spice Wars is done really well. I was impressed by it. I think that yeah, this game I was playing when I was in early access. But yeah, overall, if you're a fan of real-time strategy games, definitely check it out, right? This has got some of that classic, yeah, you mine for resources, and then you build units, right? You attack and defend and everything. So, you know, those guys who have played RTS games know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's got some of that classic RTS gameplay. You know, this reminds me of playing RTS game from the 2000s, which is great because I think the 2000s is really the golden age of well, you can say the 90s too, but I prefer the 2000s RTS games. I think the RTS games in the 2000s really peaked, and then it died down in the 2010s.
Yeah, I got my Cerberus units.
But yeah, I think that this Dune Spice Wars is one of the great modern RTS games. So definitely recommend it to any RTS fan here. So yeah, Dune Spice Wars, enjoyed playing it a lot. So ended up being one of my favorite RTS games from recent times. Oh, also the Total War series as well. Although the Total War games can sometimes also be turn-based as well. But yeah, the actual battles in Total War are always real-time. So I guess Total War series counts too. So yeah, that's another good one for recent RTS games. Alright, so number 25 is Shadow Warrior 3. And I think this game really flew under the radar. For some reason, people always seem to overlook the Shadow Warrior games. So like for Shadow Warrior, the original game came out in I think the late 90s because it came out after Duke Nukem 3D. It uses the same engine and everything. It was by 3D Realms. And then Shadow Warrior got a reboot in 2013. And it came out with kind of a new series, but still, you know, the main protagonist still being Lo Wang and everything. So it kind of got a reboot, but yeah, this is the third game of the rebooted series. And I think just like Serious Sam keeps getting games, like Serious Sam Siberian Mayhem might be the latest one. So Serious Sam keeps getting games, and Shadow Warrior also comes out with games as well. It's just that people tend to overlook them, I think. They don't talk about them that much for whatever reason. But I think Shadow Warrior should be talked about more. It's a very enjoyable FPS game. I think fans of old school FPS combat and action should enjoy it, like me. Like, I like the fast-paced action combat of Shadow Warrior. Yeah, like everyone focuses on, like, when you think of FPS titles, right? Everyone focuses on stuff like Doom Eternal, for example, right? That game was pretty popular. Or a new Halo game. Whenever a new Halo game comes out, they all talk about that. Yeah, nobody talks about Shadow Warrior.
This is pretty much just a game about going to.
Yeah, it's fast-paced, good amount of action. Also, what I like about Shadow Warrior is that it's got the Asian aesthetic and vibe to it. Because you know, it's always got a more Asian vibe to it. That's what Shadow Warrior is about. Yeah, so I do like the more Asian tone and atmosphere of the game. And the weapons that you wield, I mean, you get to wield like more melee weapons like this sword here, but you also get to switch to, you know, the good old. Oh. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. I love the little violent type of takedowns you can do here. But yeah, you get to use like, you know, this cool sword, or you can switch to guns or whatever.
Yeah, this guy really acts like Shang-Chi.
Yeah, a lot of FPS games only focus on the guns, but I like the Shadow Warrior, you know, throws in the sword combat as well. That's really cool. And plus the whole Asian vibe and everything, I do like it. So yeah, it's probably one of my favorite FPS games
of those things killed them.
recent years.
Nice.
Definitely for this year, 2022, the year this game came out, it's definitely one of my favorite FPS games of that era. So yeah, I definitely think more people should have talked about Shadow Warrior 3. I don't know why no one else really noticed this game even existed, but yeah, there's a third game in the series. Nobody really talks about the rebooted Shadow Warrior games, but I think more people should talk about it because it's a very fun series. Yeah, anyway, Shadow Warrior 3 on my list. If you're looking for fast-paced action combat FPS with Asian vibes, then this is your game. Yeah. Oh, just look at that. Oh, that's how you do it. Alright, so number 24 is Stray, and Stray is a funny game because you get to play as a cat, and I think that's really the main appeal of this game. Okay, yes, it's set in a cyberpunk environment, which is nice. You know, I like the cyberpunk environment and everything, but I think the main appeal of this game is you play as a cat. I mean, how many games do you get to play as a cat? You know, and it's not just like any typical game where you play as a cat. You play as a cat in an open world cyberpunk dystopian environment, you know. So that's pretty fun. It's a pretty interesting setting. So yeah, I really do think that's the main appeal of this game. And then later on, of course, you get some upgrades and stuff like that. But it's mostly like an adventure open world game where you get to do a lot of exploration. And yeah, some things are just cute because you're a cat, right? Doing all these things while you're a furry. So I think that makes this game really kind of appealing to play. So yeah, I mean, that's really all there is to say about it. I mean, Stray even got into some Game of the Year nominations, which is kind of surprising. I would never put it as Game of the Year, but I will say it was definitely in my top 30, right, of the games I played in 2022. Yeah, it's a fun game to play. Because, yeah, you're playing in the cyberpunk dystopian environment with different robots and everything. The humans have all died. It's only robots left. And yeah, you're playing as a cat. And sometimes you have these, oh my god, keep getting this monster stuck on me. Yeah, and sometimes you have these little contraptions stuck onto your body like this, which is pretty fun. But yeah, this is sometime in the future, I guess, where only robots remain, and cats, right? Cats always survive. So yeah, what can I say? Open world, cyberpunk, you play as a cat. And that's good enough to get into my top 30 and a lot of other people's top 30, I'm guessing, as well. It's just, yeah, it's a fun game to play. So, and can be even relaxing at times, I would say. So anyways, I think Stray is oh yeah, I have a listed robot body, which translates stuff for me. Of course I'm a cat, so I don't talk, but I do have dialogue options in this game when talking to people and everything. But yeah, open world adventure game where you play as a cat in a cyberpunk environment. What's not to like about that? Alright, so number 23 is Unusual Findings, which I played recently, and this is a pretty nice point-and-click adventure game. I mean, I really love the atmosphere and the setting and the feel of this game because it really brings you back to the 1980s. And actually has a feel and the vibe of a 1980s, one of those 1980s kind of sci-fi themed coming-of-age type of movie. There were lots of those in 1980s back then, right? Last Starfighter type of vibes, you know, Goonies, you know, there's so many of these wondrous exploration type coming of age movies back in the 80s.
Use as a pulley.
And yeah, Unusual Findings really does have that.
On the plus side,
and you play as basically one of these three characters here.
It's an alien, obviously. Very 80s.
I mean, it's very 80s. Obviously, the main character looks like a reference to Marty McFly from Back to the Future. One of his friends has a bandana on, like the Karate Kid. The other guy is like the stereotypical nerdy type character that you often see in 80s movies. Like, yeah, really one of my favorite point-and-click adventures, and certainly of 2022. I think this is definitely one of the standouts, I think, for me. Yeah, the whole 80s vibe and feel of it. Yeah, just love that. The whole exploration and yeah, coming of age type of feel to it. I really do think that this game captures that really well. So yeah, in addition to that, beautiful, lovely sprites, yeah, the graphics and everything are obviously a throwback to old school point and clicks. But also with a more modern interface as well, because yeah, the old school ones had text parsers and everything. This one doesn't. Yeah, it has a more of a simplified point-and-click interface, but still done really well. Yeah, so overall, another one of my favorites from 2022. I think definitely, certainly in terms of being a point-and-click, I think this was one of my favorites of that year.
Nothing interesting.
And of modern, yeah, just of a modern point-and-click of recent years. I think this is definitely one of my favorites.
The door's locked.
Hey!
Just everything in this game is such a throwback to the 80s. So, really do love this game. I think it really is a love letter for people who grew up in the 1980s. And yeah, a lot of references to classic films as well. Not just of the 80s, but classic films of the, yeah, the golden age of Hollywood. And of course you see a lot of 80s references, but still, I love all the references in this game. It's a great game to play.
TVs used to have color
those of you guys who are classic movie buffs and
that's when they didn't have
film
any
fans,
graphics.
definitely check it out.
Messing things up.
Unusual Findings.
Forest people are so incompetent.
My family's from North Forest.
I mean, they are so cool.
Shut up, you little perv.
Little perv.
Yeah, the color bars used to be broadcast by stations when they were.
Alright, so number 22 is Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed. So this is a remake of the second game in the Destroy All Humans series, which is a kind of open world series where you play as this
What a
alien
fun
trying to
gun.
take over Earth, and it's done in a very campy style, a very 1950s B movie style.
Let's make the car bounce.
Yeah, so it's got a lot of references to like 1950s, 1960s sci-fi movies, and it's done in a campy style. So I do like the Destroy All Humans series.
Oh, look at that cargo bouncing.
Yeah, so
That's
there's
funny.
definitely some crazy
Stupid FBI
crazy
agents.
weapons and stuff that you can use in this game, and it's fun
This
like
mouse.
playing as Crypto, and yeah, he's like super sarcastic and everything. So overall, I like Destroy All Humans. I think that this game series, even the
Yeah.
original games, I think 1 and 2 are pretty well
Like a
received.
human's body, okay.
They're dancing around. Yeah, just the open world setting, being able to
Yeah.
use all these different weapons
Oh,
and
no.
techniques. Look, I just like put
Body
my
snatch.
mind into this hippie girl, and now I
Oh,
can
I can
travel
body
around as
snatch
this,
your top?
walk around as
Okay.
this hippie girl and everything. Yeah, it's pretty fun. So I like the original Destroy All Humans, both 1 and 2, and the remake of 2 I think is a good one because well,
Well, I can only be
previously
able to
the only
stand
way to
up.
play Destroy All Humans 2 would have been on the PS2 in that era of consoles, right? So it wasn't very easy to play the game these days. So I'm glad I got a remake. So actually kind of surprised they got a remake because apparently there's still a bunch of Destroy All Humans fans out there. I thought people forgot about this franchise. But yeah, I like the fact that it's open world. It's got this sci-fi, 1950s, 1960s sci-fi type of vibe, humor in it. Very campy and very cool weapons and techniques in this game. Doesn't take itself too seriously. Yeah, it's just a silly open world game, I would say, and I love playing it. You know, I actually like
Why
it
is
when
my
the games
car
don't take
disguised
themselves
for
too
bulky attack?
seriously. Like
Why is my
it's
car
probably why I
disguised
prefer
for
Saints Row
bulky
to
attacking
GTA. I find GTA a little bit too serious sometimes. That's why I prefer
You don't
Saints
know
Row,
me.
because Saints Row is a bit more
Shit.
silly, I'd say. And Destroy All Humans is a silly game, right? You can take over the minds of different humans, and
Get my clone.
Destroy All
It's
Humans
basically
2
my
is
clone,
set in the
look at
1960s.
You're wearing the same
In
skirt as
San
me.
Francisco, actually, which is really cool.
I like your
'cause
outfit, it's very
that-
close to
I'm
mine.
very familiar with San
Similar.
Francisco. Used to live there, so that's additional bonus points for having that setting there. So, yeah, it's cool to be able to take over like the bodies of all these people, and then using all the cool weapons that Crypto has access to. I think you also get to fly a flying saucer in the game as well, and use those weapons as well.
Drop one. That's Alcatraz, right? I've
Yeah.
actually never been to Alcatraz.
Oh, that's
I just
Alcatraz.
Drop the truck into the
Nice.
water. Alcatraz. Watch this. Jump
Yeah, it's
this
Golden
guy.
Gate Bridge right there.
Oh.
Anyways,
guy.
I'm definitely having fun when I was playing this game for sure. It's a very fun game to play. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and that's what's
Launched
great
him
about
into
it.
the water.
It really is just a fun open world game to play. Kind of that's the
it's
same
so fun.
vibes as Saints Row if it was more sci-fi. Okay, so 21. Another game that doesn't take itself too seriously. High on Life. So this game is
never have played a game with this kind of gun.
This game is designed, I think the same designers as Rick and Morty designed this game too. And you can tell because the humor is very well written. It's the humor is all done in the Rick and Morty style. And you have this talking gun. Actually, all the guns you get in this game talk to you, which is very unique. That's why this game ended up being one of my favorite FPS games, because it's just so unique. You get like all the guns are like they talk like they have this bit of humor in it, right? Like every gun that you use, they all talk to you and they all have their own like personality and humor. Like it's just super unique.
Hey, calm down. We don't need to shoot everybody.
Yeah, and you walk around in this sci-fi setting, of course. Yeah, so it's overall very unique. Also, game doesn't take itself very seriously, and I love games like that. Yeah, I think every gun has their own personality. The beginner gun
You
here.
fucking nailed it. How sick was that? Whew, okay. I'll recharge. It doesn't take too long, but it's a little longer when there's enemies nearby. You know, my body gets too tense. It's like trying to piss when someone's watching. You know.
Yeah, like
Okay.
the gun's hilarious. Actually, talking to you. That's how you reload the guns in this game. It's really fun.
Time for what?
I think not enough people talk about this game. This is a great game. High on Life, one of my favorite first-person shooters.
It's just sort of depressing. Everyone up here just makes the slum sound really depressing.
Yeah. Yeah, this game it was really fun.
Borderlands type introduction.
I think one of the most fun FPS games I've ever played, just because of how unique it is, right? Having these talking guns with personalities, and then you're in the sci-fi environment where like no one really takes themselves seriously. Like overall, just a very, very fun game and fun setting. So I do think that yeah, more people should check out High on Life. Yeah, very, very fun game. Definitely one of the most unique FPS games I've played. Alright, so number 20 is Warhammer 40,000 Chaos Gate Daemon Hunters, which is a sequel to the 1998 game, Warhammer 40,000 Chaos Gate. It's a tactical RPG game based in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Warhammer 40,000 is a lot of games, actually. So I think I didn't actually know how many games Warhammer had until I looked it up, and I looked up like a ranking of Warhammer games that had over 50. Yeah, there's over 50 Warhammer games, so that's crazy. But yeah, this is definitely one of the better Warhammer games. I would say it's definitely like a top 15, top 10 Warhammer game. It's a great game. Chaos Gate Daemon Hunters. Very worthy sequel. Of course, it's set in the Warhammer universe and everything, but if you guys like tactical RPGs, I think the Marvel Midnight Suns came out the same year, but I preferred playing this to Marvel Midnight Suns, to be honest. I like this game better. Just, yeah, like, you get your squad of people, right, and you can, of course, equip them with all different weapons and attributes and stuff, and then just standard tactics and everything like that. If you guys have played Gears Tactics, then this is also kind of like that too. There's a lot of tactical games actually coming out these days, and surprisingly they work really well. And I do think this Warhammer game, which I haven't played too many tactical Warhammer games, but yeah, it works really well. If you guys have played XCOM as well, right, this is actually done in kind of that style too. So yeah, overall I think this is a very worthy Warhammer game. All the lore and everything set in the Warhammer universe. Definitely a game you can sink hours and hours into for sure, especially if you like the tactical strategy and everything in the combat. So anyways, yeah, those of you guys who are Warhammer fans, definitely check it out, and tactical RPG fans, because I think Warhammer 40,000 Chaos Gate Daemon Hunters, yeah, definitely one of the, for me, it's definitely one of the top Warhammer games I played. Yeah, in my top 10 Warhammer games, for me personally. Right, so number 19, I have another Warhammer 40,000 game, and this is Total War Warhammer 3. It's a collaboration between the Total War franchise and the Warhammer 40,000 franchise, and this is their third collaboration. Tells you how successful this game series has been. The Total War, I would say, is one of the few remaining RTS franchises that have been running pretty much non-stop, because like a lot of the other RTS franchises, like they've all taken a break or something, or they stopped making games. Like StarCraft, you don't see any more StarCraft games. Age of Empires just released 4, but you probably won't see any Age of Empires games anytime soon. Dune just released Spice Wars, as you guys have just seen in this video. But yeah, Total War just keeps going. I mean, they keep releasing newer titles, yeah, every few years, and they've been doing pretty well. And Warhammer 3, I think, is a good one. So this is also probably my top 10 Warhammer games that I've ever played. I think, as you know, the scale of combat is huge. You get to control these massive armies and send them into battle. In this case, you get to send lots of huge legions. Yeah, in battle here. In this case, you're controlling the Daemon army, right? So you send in your Daemons in, and man, it's just fun being able to control your own horde of demons like this, right? Just the scale of combat is always massive in Total War games, and it always has been. Like back when I think my first Total War game I played was Total War Medieval 2, and that was my first Total War game, and yeah, that was, the scale of combat was huge at the time, and yeah, that was really fun. Just seeing the whole, like, all these different small soldiers battle against each other, and this giant battlefield is a fun feeling. And then I played Total War Rome, I played Total War Napoleon, I played Total War Shogun, and I played Total War Three Kingdoms, Total War Troy. So yeah, I definitely played my share of Total War games. Yeah, Warhammer 3 is one of my favorite Total War games and one of my favorite Warhammer games. I think they did a pretty good job. It just makes sense, you know? You have the Warhammer 40,000 lore and everything, and you get to control your own massive army. And the thing about Total War games is a combination of turn-based strategy, which you take your turn moving your hero. That's kind of like Heroes of Might and Magic in a way. And then once you do battle, it then turns into RTS. So it's almost like, yeah, so Total War is like, you can think of it as a take on Heroes of Might and Magic. So you have Heroes of Might and Magic style, you move your hero to different places, take turns, and then when you actually do battle, then you do like a huge, massive RTS style battle here. So you have these giant armies that go up against each other. And that's the great thing about Total War games, right? Except now they're using Warhammer units and stuff. So very, very cool. Just seeing these like massive armies do battle against each other. Look at that. Yeah, it's always satisfying feeling. Anyways, another one of my favorite recent RTS games, I guess, is Total War Warhammer 3. So the second one in this video after Dude Spice Wars. I didn't think that I would get more than one RTS in this video, but we do. So that's cool that they came out recently. I love RTS games, and it's always cool to see some of them come out. You know, it's not quite as popular these days as tactical games. I think tactical games are definitely more popular, but still cool to see RTS games come out every now and then. Okay, so at number 18 is Danganronpa V3 Killing Harmony. Now I know this game didn't originally come out 2022, right? I think it came out 2016 because I actually played this on my PS Vita back when it came out. So I know that, you know, if you want to be technical, this is not a 2022 game, but it did release 2022 for PC. So that's why I including it in this list here. So this is a PC release I'm playing here in this video, and that did come out 2022. So technically it counts, right? So anyways, Danganronpa V3, the third entry in the Danganronpa series. Danganronpa is a bit interesting because the series is known for having a lot of quirky characters. Like, it's almost like a rule, right? The characters in Danganronpa that you see are always weird in some way. Except for Kayade, because Kayade in this game isn't supposed to be weird. She's supposed to be your ideal model girl. But yeah, the rest of the characters are pretty weird. And the whole game is, it's about almost like a Squid Games type of thing, right? You're supposed to kill each other, and whoever murders each other and stuff, you do a trial to find out, you know, who actually was the killer and murderer. And then it's like an Ace Attorney style trial. That way you try to figure things out. But I would say Danganronpa is pretty unique because it takes elements of Ace Attorney, like the trial stuff, but it combines it with the Squid Games, like survival, right? Where you're a bunch of contestants, you're trapped in this arena, you gotta kill each other. So it combines it with that, and also this game has some first-person exploration stuff as well, and investigation, so that's pretty cool. So it combines like a lot of different aspects of gameplay together. You got the first-person, investigation, exploration part, then you got visual novel style, where you just talk to people, and then you basically just to hear all their thoughts and everything. And so that's kind of visual novel style, and then you got the trial, which is kind of like Ace Attorney style. So you got a lot of different types of gameplay. You even got a side-scrolling part here. Yeah, there's a little side-scrolling part here. Yeah, so you got a good variety of gameplay, I would say, in Danganronpa. And Danganronpa V3 is my favorite Danganronpa game. Yeah, I think the story in this one is probably the best. So I liked it the best anyways. So anyways, yeah. Technically, I know it didn't come out 2022, but it did come out 2022 for PC, which is the version I'm playing here. So technically it counts, and thus I'm putting it on my list. Alright, so number 17 is Triangle Strategy. So this is an original IP by Square Enix, and it's a tactical RPG. It's done kind of in the style of Tactics Ogre or even Final Fantasy Tactics, I'd say. So if you guys are familiar with those games, then you'll be right at home with Triangle Strategy. I like the art style. It's very reminiscent of the style. I think it's the same engine that they used for Octopath Traveler, actually. And I think this is the second game they used this engine for after Octopath Traveler. So it's this like 2D, 3D style, I think, or they call this what, 2D HD style. I think they used that for Dragon Quest 3, right? Dragon Quest 3 2D HD is what they called it. So anyways, it's this engine that Square Enix has where they have high definition pixelated sprites on a 3D background, and it's done really well. I like it. Octopath Traveler 1 and 2 uses it, Live Alive Remake uses it, and yeah, Triangle Strategy uses it. So yeah, it's a beautiful art style. And Dragon Quest 3 also uses it as well, the remake.
Okay, so she's a physician.
But this game is a really good tactical RPG. So it's done in that classic style, like the Tactics Ogre Final Fantasy Tactics style, you know. So if you guys like those games, then you'll be right at home here. The only issue I have with this one though is that I really do like the combat here, the tactical combat. I think that's very classic. The thing I don't like is how slow-paced the game is. The game is incredibly slow-paced. It's like it's got all this political stuff happening, and it takes ages to get through this, right? And okay, I know the story is important in these kind of games too, okay? But the Triangle Strategy story is it's way too long-winded. There's just way too much of it, right? So most of it ends up being just talking and talking and talking and talking with a little bit of tactical combat in between, right? So it ends up being more story than even combat. So yeah, I don't know. I just felt like there's just way too much talking in this game, and you know, I don't mind a good story. I like to have a good story in games, but this is just too much of it. It's like I almost feel like only sometimes do I ever get to go into the tactical combat stuff, right? Most of the time, I'm just pressing A and going through the dialogue. So I think it's this really glacial pace of this game. It's just yeah, it's really slow paced because of how story heavy it is. Yeah, very heavy on the political story stuff. That's my only criticism of this one. But yeah, still makes my list. You know, the tactical combat's still great, and the graphics are still great. But just the story's so long-winded. It's so, like, you know, politically complex and long-winded. Oh man. Right, number 16, I have another remake of tactical RPG here. This one is Tactics Ogre Reborn, and also by Square Enix. And yeah, this is the latest remake of Tactics Ogre, because Tactics Ogre has had a few remakes. They had the PSP remake as well, and the Game Boy Advance version, I believe. But yeah, I think originally, it was on Super Nintendo. But yeah, Tactics Ogre has had a couple of remakes. This is the latest one that came out in 2022. And yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, Tactics Ogre is a great tactics game. It's kind of like the pioneer of that genre, I would say. It actually came out before Final Fantasy Tactics did. And Final Fantasy Tactics kind of just took a lot of things from Tactics Ogre and put a Final Fantasy skin over it. It still was a really good game, of course. Final Fantasy Tactics is an all-time game. But yeah, the core of the Final Fantasy Tactics experience comes from Tactics Ogre, I think. So yeah, Tactics Ogre is just a pioneering tactical RPG, I would say. And this is a great remake. So yeah, it's done in the classic style. All the sprites and everything are still here, just like, you know, updated into high resolution and stuff. And yeah, it's probably the best way to play it. So I would say if you guys haven't played Tactics Ogre before, just imagine it being very similar to Final Fantasy Tactics. It's just not set in Final Fantasy world, you know, not Ivalice. So yeah, it's just otherwise it plays pretty similar to Final Fantasy Tactics, I'd say, which is a great game. So nothing bad about that. And this game technically came out first before FF Tactics did. So anyways, if you guys are looking for you know, a great tactical RPG experience, a great tactical JRPG experience, definitely check out Tactics Ogre Reborn. So yeah, I'm glad that Square Enix made another remake of this game. Yeah, it's gotten a few remakes, but this is probably the latest and greatest one. Right, so number 15 is Chaos Head Noah. So this is a visual novel that came out in 2022, and it ends up being one of my favorite visual novels that I played. And why it's one of my favorites is because, like, this visual novel is really hard to describe, because, like, the main character is this character that's basically inside all day. Like, he's kind of the super otaku, super introverted character that doesn't like to talk to anyone. He's always inside. He's always playing video games. He's always
like in Chaos Child.
He's even talking. He's talking to this anime figurine on his desk. So he's like this super shut-in type. and then he notices some disturbing things around him, right? So he's getting these delusions around him, and he notices that one of his classmates, actually he sees a vision of one of his classmates killing this guy,
What the heck?
crucifying him with crosses and stuff. And then he gets really freaked out, and he later on that girl becomes his classmate, and then it ends up being just one of his huge delusions. And in this game, you'll experience many delusions, basically. Yeah, so the main character is basically delusional. He experiences many delusions and things that might not be happening, but he thinks is happening. And there's all sorts of psychological issues with this dude. So yeah, overall I had a really fun time playing this visual novel. It's yeah, the story is yeah, it's a little bit psychotic, but yeah, it's really interesting though. As you do suffer from all these delusions and stuff, and then all this weird stuff happens, all this creepy stuff happens, and yeah, look, okay, this is another one of his delusions. For example, he imagines his classmate wearing this bathing
It's
suit.
his favorite competition swim, but not taking the socks off. This guy, GJ.
So also, he even had to go into detail of not taking the socks
Hey,
off.
I'm not. Good job
she's-
of not taking the socks.
Yeah, when she was in this bathing suit. So yeah, this is one of his delusions, basically. He was imagining this
Do
girl.
whatever you want with me.
He was imagining this girl wearing a bathing suit with socks, and it was just a delusion. And she's still here, and it's like this kind of stuff happens, right? He even had one of his sister. Yeah, his sister was like coming on to him. He had a delusion about it. It's crazy. So this main character is a little bit messed up, and then he gets like messages from. He gets messages from someone that is very mysterious, and it predicts some of the creepy, mysterious murders that's going to happen. So like, yeah, he gets messages from someone predicting murders that's happening, and then he meets this other girl who's also kind of weird. So yeah, this whole game is a little bit weird and psychotic, but I think that's also what makes it charming. It makes it very unique, actually. So it makes it a very interesting experience to play through. So I recommend anyone looking for a visual novel that's weird and also creepy and also psychotic, then check out Chaos Head Noah. Yeah, but anyways, definitely one of my more memorable experiences with a visual novel. Alright, so number 14 is Citizen Sleeper, which is a very interesting RPG. So it is an RPG because you do choose your classes, you know, stats and everything. But unlike other RPGs, you don't have any kind of combat, nor do you control your character in this one. Instead, you're on this space station. It takes place in space in the future, of course, and you take place in the space station, and then you do all these different tasks to fulfill different missions and stuff, and your stats actually determine like how well you do these tasks. Basically, you still meet different people and stuff. It's very narrative driven. So if you guys have played Disco Elysium before, it's kind of like you have a lot of narrative here. So it's like a very narrative-driven RPG, except you don't even control a character in this one. You just talk to people, you fulfill missions, and your stats kind of determine how well you will fulfill those missions and do those tasks. But overall, found this pretty fun to play. Actually, Citizen Sleeper 2 ended up being one of my favorite Western RPGs, actually. But yeah, I enjoyed playing Citizen Sleeper 1. I think this is definitely I didn't expect that actually I would be so into this game. Considering like there's not too much action happening, there's no combat, yeah, there's no like controlling your character or anything like that. But I like playing through this narrative-driven RPG. It's almost like a visual novel, except you do have stats and stuff, and different missions and stuff to do. So there's a lot of reading, but you know, if you guys like enjoying playing visual novels and adventure games, then it's okay to have a bunch of text to read, right? And when it comes to this kind of RPG, I'm totally fine with it. Yeah. So, anyways, it ends up being almost like a visual novel RPG in my opinion. So, very interesting RPG to check out, Citizen Sleeper. Yeah, I like the first one and the second one. So, I think they're both great games. If you're guys are looking for a different kind of RPG, one that involves more reading and narrative, definitely check this one out. Okay, so number 13 is AI, the Somnium Files Nirvana Initiative, which is also one of my favorite visual novels as well. And yeah, this one came out the same year as Chaos Head Noah, and I think Chaos Head Noah and AI Somnium Files Nirvana Initiative both ended up being in my top 10 visual novels list.
What else can I
Both
do
of them are
here?
very good. So AI Somnium Files, this is
Nothing
a
else I can
sequel
do.
to the original Somnium Files, by the way. Involves more investigation. So as you can see, I'm on the
can check
first-person
everything.
perspective here, looking around, investigating. So you definitely a little bit more gameplay compared to most visual novels because you do more investigating in this
Disorder,
one.
system panic.
In a way,
Eternal
you
panic.
can think of it as similar to Danganronpa. Because in Danganronpa, you do have a first-person perspective where you do some investigation as well, which, by the way, also came out this year. So I guess a lot of my favorite visual novels came out in 2022. Danganronpa V3, Chaos Head Noah, and AI Somnium Files, Nirvana Initiative all came out the same year. So, interesting. Yeah, I guess this is the third visual novel on my list then, technically. But yeah, still, I think this one is definitely one of my favorites. Investigating and then also just yeah, very interesting stuff happens in this one. You guys will find out. I just like the surrealist settings of some of these games, but this one is definitely like, you know, set in Japan, but also some crazy stuff happens, right? As you continue with this game. Like, what the heck is this guy, right? This guy with the square head looks like he's from Minecraft. Yeah, so you're investigating some mysteries and stuff. Oh man. Yeah, then you have an area of the game where you had to get past these mental locks. And in order to get past these mental locks, you basically have to like solve some of these puzzles. And some crazy stuff happens, like this. A giant head is rolling towards you while you race down a track with vaporwave aesthetics. Yeah. Some crazy stuff happens. Yeah, and yeah, this part of the game you actually control your character here. So there's definitely more gameplay. I would say that this is almost... I call it a visual novel still, but if you want to think of it as like an adventure game, you could. Because there's definitely more gameplay here compared to most visual novels, right? Because you actually control your character, and yeah, there's sequences like this where you're controlling your character and you're trying to figure some stuff out. So yes, it is definitely a lot more like an adventure game. But yeah, anyways, AI Somnium Files, I think this ended up being one of my favorite, I still consider it a visual novel, it still ends up being one of my top 10 visual novels. I think it's, yeah, it's fun to play through. I liked it better than the original game. I think this one has some expanded gameplay, and it's quirky, just like a lot of Japanese games are. So I do like the quirky stuff. Yeah, so definitely had my fun playing this one, investigating around, I guess, and then you're in that mental lock, you're trying to break that mental lock area. There's all these surrealist experiences happening. Like, look at this guy, like half of him is stuck in the floor, right? Just this weird surrealist stuff happens in this game. Anyways, I like this game a lot. Definitely one of my favorite games of 2022. Right. So number 12 is Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Yeah. So this game is basically an expanded version of a 2013 game. So it technically is not an original game. It's just an updated version of an older game. But I think it counts because it's, you know, it's actually a re-release, and it's an expanded re-release actually. So the original Stanley Parable, I played back when it was first released, I think back in 2013. And it's interesting because it's like, it's one of these games that doesn't involve any combat or anything. It's a game that's trying to figure out
like an Amazon warehouse.
what's going on, right? So you're playing as this guy named Stanley, and then this narrator is in your head telling you what to do. So it's like a puzzle game basically, and you're trying to figure out what's going on.
Cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar.
Yeah, this game's
And don't get me
self-aware.
started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department
It's
signed
making
off
fun
on
of
this?
itself. This game is very self-aware. So basically, yeah, you follow the narrator, you're trying to do what the narrator tells you to do, or you can choose not to do what the narrator tells you to do. It's your choice. So it's a bit of an interesting game because it's very meta. The narrator is trying to tell you what to do. Look, you're even reading a review of the game that you're playing here.
Destructoid.
James Stephanie Sterling writes,
Oh my god.
We're so many games that aspire to be more than
Yeah,
games.
you have a review of the game that you're
I
playing.
always would. To be honest, I had always thought of
You're
the
reading a
game style
Steam
as
review
enough
of the game that you're playing. Like this game is very meta. So yeah, it's a fun game to play. I would call it like a puzzle adventure game. Yeah, because yeah, you basically you're following this narrator, or you can choose not to follow him. But either way, you have the narrator talking to you, trying to figure out what's going on. And the Ultra Deluxe Edition expands with more content, more endings and stuff. It's basically the definitive way to play this game. So I do think the Ultra Deluxe, yeah, it's a re-release, so it's with expanded content essentially. So it does count. You know, not necessarily as a new game, but it definitely counts as a release in this year. So
But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck.
yeah. Anyways, I enjoyed playing the original game, and I enjoyed playing the Ultra Deluxe version. It's the definitive way to play Stanley Parable. If you guys are interested in a game that's very quirky, I guess, and meta, then definitely pick it up.
The LTO can be
Definitely not your typical game, that's for sure. And this is a layout of the game that, basically the layout of what you were playing. Like you
So this
start
is
out
the
in this
whole layout of
office
the
and you
game.
move over here and over
Go
here.
through the office.
Yeah, I have a layout of the
Office and
level
then
that I was just playing. Like, yeah, it's a very meta game. So, but also very fun to play. So if you like these kind of puzzle adventure games.
I believe it's not for
Right, so number 11 is Blade Runner Enhanced Edition. So this is basically a remaster of Blade Runner, which is an adventure game that came out in the 90s. It was based, of course, on the Ridley Scott movie. And yeah, this is one of my favorite point-and-click adventure games. I think I put it on my top 10 point-and-click adventure games list. I think it's just done incredibly well. I love Blade Runner, the movie. I love, yeah, the setting, the cyberpunk setting. Of course, Blade Runner, as people know, really pioneered the whole cyberpunk genre to begin with, and the game was actually quite good. You know, you might not think a game based on a movie is good, but Blade Runner, the game, is actually a good game. You know, now I'm not saying it has the same impact as the movie. Blade Runner is one of the all-time sci-fi movies, but I do think that the game was really good, and I think anyone who's played Blade Runner, the game, knows how great it is as a game. So yeah, one of my all-time point-and-click adventure games, and having this enhanced remastered edition is great. So yeah, I actually did not expect an enhanced edition, because you know, I thought this was just one of those 90s games that only a few people played, but no, apparently enough people played it that it got an enhanced edition, which is pretty good. And the story is not is independent of the Blade Runner story, so you're not playing as Rick Deckard. Yeah, you're playing someone else, and it's still though it's set in the whole Blade Runner universe and everything. So of course the dystopian future of LA, and it's just done really well. So you got that. I think the whole setting makes for a great game, because the cyberpunk setting, dystopian future, you're like a private investigator, right? I think all that makes for a great setting for a game. So yeah, anyways, I thought the original was a great game, and now it's great that it got a remastered edition, basically. So, and yeah, remasters do count as a release. You know, it's essentially an upgraded, enhanced re-release. So Blade Runner Enhanced Edition is going to be my pick for this spot, number 11. Yeah, if you guys haven't played it and you guys like cyberpunk, definitely check it out, because Blade Runner is the definitive cyberpunk movie, and the game based on the movie, of course, is also pretty definitive in my opinion. Right, so number 10 is Chrono Cross Radical Dreamers Edition, and yes, this is another remaster. I know, there's a lot of good remasters released in 2022 though, and this is one of them. So yeah, Chrono Cross is
Now I just gotta wait for a Xenogears remaster and a Legend of Dragoon remaster.
Yeah, so Chrono Cross is the sequel, I say quote-unquote sequel to Chrono Trigger, because it's only vaguely related to Chrono Trigger, I'd say, and a lot of people don't like that, myself included. I actually feel like, you know, Chrono Trigger deserves a more proper sequel. Chrono Cross is, like, you know, tangentially related to Chrono Trigger, I'd say. There are some elements that relate to Chrono Trigger, especially because this is the Radical Dreamers edition. which includes the official translation of Radical Dreamers, which is this kind of visual novel that ties Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross together more. But still, you know, I think most fans would probably want to, like a sequel that ties together better with Chrono Trigger.
Let's hear it.
Chrono Cross is like, you know, just vaguely related, I would say. It's not completely unrelated. It does contain some references to Chrono Trigger, but yeah, it's a little bit distantly related, I'd say. But that doesn't mean it's not a great game, because even though I still prefer Chrono Trigger, and I think many people still prefer Chrono Trigger,
like normal speed.
Chrono Cross is still a great game. You still got
it's way too slow otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty decent combat system. Not quite as memorable as Chrono Trigger's, but it's decent. The setting and characters and the time travel stuff is all still there. Those mechanics are still there. So yeah, it still contains a lot of that kind of sci-fi fantasy elements, I would say.
So
and the remastered edition,
they just keep running off the screen,
which
and
includes
no
Radical
water,
Dreamers, I think is a great release.
Oh,
because this is the first official time Western audiences get to experience Radical Dreamers. Like before, it was only unofficial translations of that. But in addition to that, you get the enhanced, upgraded version of Chrono Cross.
It took me a while to get those Komodos.
So, anyways, yeah, this game is it's a great RPG by itself. I think don't compare it to Chrono Trigger, because like that's doing a disservice to Chrono Cross. I think Chrono Cross standalone, if you just evaluate on its own merits, it's a great RPG, a great JRPG. And yeah, this is a good way to experience it, I think. And there's over 45 playable characters, I believe, in Chrono Cross. Quite a bit more than Chrono Trigger. You only have 7 in Chrono Trigger. So it's quite a bit more expanded if you think about how many characters you play as. Now, the story itself is still good, although I still prefer Chrono Trigger's story. I do think that Chrono Cross's story gets a little bit convoluted at times, but yeah, and Kid as well, her backstory. Overall, yeah, you play as this here Surge and Kid. Surge being, of course, the silent protagonist, as always. Yeah, overall, if you guys haven't played Chrono Cross, definitely check it out. It's a great way to experience it. Just don't go into expecting it to be like Chrono Trigger, because it's not. But it's a great game just by itself, its own merits. Yeah, just judge it, by itself, I'd say. Yeah, without tying it to Chrono Trigger. Right, number 9 is Chained Echoes. So this is an indie RPG that's done in the style of the classic JRPGs from the past, like the Chrono Triggers, the Final Fantasy VI's. It takes a lot of inspiration from the classic Super Nintendo era JRPGs, and I think it does a great job at it, and it got pretty high acclaim for that. I think for me, like if comparing Chained Echoes, I always think of Sea of Stars too, but I think Chained Echoes is probably the better game, and many people will play Sea of Stars and Chained Echoes. I think Chained Echoes gets the edge here. Well, Sea of Stars is a great game too. I just think that like the characters and Chained Echoes are probably a little bit better, more fleshed out. There's 12 controllable characters in Chained Echoes, I believe, and yeah, they all have their own backstories and everything, and yeah, overall I had a great experience playing this game. Definitely made me feel like I was playing an old school Super Nintendo era JRPG. It's a great tribute to that era. This game actually made my list of greatest Western RPGs or greatest non-Japanese. I ranked a list of my favorite non-Japanese RPGs or my favorite Western RPGs, and Chained Echoes was on it. Tells you guys how great, how much I hold this game in high esteem.
Retro, but it looked nice.
Yeah, so love the graphics. It's a great throwback to that era, and the characters, the story, everything, the combat. It's all such a great throwback to that era, and they do it really well. It's and they do it in a way where they add in some of their own originality and twist on the formula too. That's where I felt Sea of Stars was a little bit too much. It paid a little bit too much attention to the old, to its influences basically, and it didn't feel as original. Chained Echoes, of course, is a tribute to the old school JRPGs, but also felt kind of fresh and original in its own way. And that's where I felt like Sea of Stars was kind of a little bit unoriginal, too unoriginal, because it was trying too much to be like Chrono Trigger. Yeah, but Chained Echoes, I felt like, yeah, it's paying tribute, but also it's a great game in its own right. So, anyways, Chained Echoes has to make my top 10 games of 2022. It's just a great tribute to old school. Alright, so number 8 is Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which might be a surprising pick to some of you guys, because you guys might not think much of this game. It's essentially just a medieval fantasy version of Borderlands. with more RPG aspects, I'd say. But yeah, for the most part, this is like a medieval fantasy Borderlands with RPG aspects, is what I said. Yeah, that's what it is. And why I like it is basically maybe not so related so much to the gameplay, because the gameplay is essentially just Borderlands, right? But that's not a bad thing. I mean, Borderlands can be addictive to play. Basically, it's a looter shooter, so you just kill enemies, you pick up the loot, you get better loot, you kill more enemies, right? So the basic premise of Borderlands is fairly addictive if you play with a friend. And I do think that this game, yeah, I think that's where it excels. It's basically I'm playing with a friend here. And yeah, the fact that it has local split screen multiplayer is really cool. Not many games these days, like not many non-Nintendo games, I should say, these days, you'll find local split screen co-op, right? And that's something you can do in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. It's really cool. Yeah, I don't know many other games, any other modern games that's like this. So yeah, really, really cool that we can do like first-person split-screen co-op in sort of like an open world as well. And all the Borderlands games can do this, and Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is no different. You can do this as well. So it's just really fun playing with a friend. Now, if I were to judge this basically like on the basis of being a single-player game, I don't think it was ranked as high. But because I'm judging it based on my experience playing it, I think this game ranks high for me because of the multiplayer experience, just being able to play this split-screen co-op with a friend. Yeah, that's pretty cool, you know? Like, if you play this with a friend, it just gets that much better, right? You both gang up on enemies, you can both like upgrade your weapons and stuff, and yeah, it's just a really fun experience to play with a friend. It's almost like Diablo, you know? You can play Diablo by yourself, but it's not going to be as fun as playing with a friend, right? So, yeah, it's kind of like that. I think of Borderlands as like the first-person version of Diablo, almost. Yeah, it's like you want to keep killing things and upgrading your stuff, upgrading your weapons, and yeah, that's the addiction of it, right? You keep wanting to upgrade your stuff, get better weapons, kill more guys, rinse and repeat, and fun to do this with friends. And yeah, I don't care like too much about the story of Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, but yeah, I mean the story is actually kind of bonkers because it never takes itself seriously. Borderlands never takes itself seriously, but especially Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, because apparently you're just playing this D&D type game that Tiny Tina's playing anyways. So it really doesn't take itself seriously. And then you have this like Princess Unicorn character later on. Yeah, anyways, it doesn't take itself seriously. But it's just a really fun game to play with friends. So that's why I have it ranked so high. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Yep, first-person, open-world, looter-shooter RPG. That's co-op multiplayer, local multiplayer. It's really cool. Alright, so number 7 is Live Alive Remake. Kind of alluded to this already when I talked about Triangle Strategy, but Triangle Strategy wasn't the only game that Square Enix released in 2022 using this engine. Yeah, Live Alive Remake also got released, also using this 2D HD engine. Yeah, and it's really beautiful looking, and they used it for Live Alive, which is really interesting because Live Alive was a Japanese RPG for the Super Nintendo that never got released in the West. A lot of people in the West kind of talked about it, like I guess it was kind of like this cult classic game that some people would talk about, but it wasn't really like that well known because it was never really released officially in the West. You had to play a fan translation, right? So I was kind of pleasantly surprised that this game got official release in the West. Not only that, but it got a full remake using the 2D HD visuals. So yeah, and this ended up being a pretty cool game because you can select from 7 different characters in Live Alive. So all of them have their own unique stories and everything, so it's really cool. Actually 8 different characters, yeah, sorry, not 7. Yeah, 8 different characters, all with their own unique scenarios and stories and everything. So it's cool to play as different characters. And yeah, the combat system is this tactical combat system, I guess, which is a little bit unique actually. But yeah, I love just all the different scenarios that you can play, all the different characters that you can play as. The tactical combat system is pretty cool, and of course the graphics, you know, these beautiful HD pixelated sprites. You know, I love this graphical engine that Square Enix uses, and yeah, just playing through all these different settings with all these different characters was a great experience. So anyways, Live Alive actually made my list of top 30 JRPGs that I played on my channel. So, you know, obviously it's going to make a list of my favorite games from 2022. You know, I'm glad it got an official Western release, and I'm really glad that it got a remake in the progress. And it's a beautiful remake. It's not done in the chibi 3D style that Trials of Mana did. I really didn't like that. So like I really wish they would redo Trials of Mana, to be honest. Trials of Mana, I didn't like that remake at all. It was done in this chibi 3D style, which I Am Setsuna and Bravely Default and a bunch of other game series. I don't like it. But I really do like this style, this 2D HD engine that Square Enix has. It was just beautiful. And getting to play through all these different scenarios too. Yeah, I played the original Live Alive translated, and I really liked it. I think it's one of my favorite SNES RPGs, and there you go. The remake version, one of my favorite Switch RPGs as well. So anyways, if you guys haven't played Live Alive remake, definitely check it out. I do think it's yeah, one of my favorite, was one of my top 30 JRPGs. Yeah, definitely check it out, guys. I know there's some people that don't like Live Alive, but for me, call me a Live Alive fan. You know, I definitely liked being able to choose all these different characters and with all their different scenarios and stuff. I think one of them was actually like played like a fighting game as well. It's like one of the near future ones. I think you get to choose different. All these people that you choose live in different time periods. One of the near future guys, I think you can do like a fighting game type of style. So it's pretty cool. Okay, so number 6 is Overwatch 2, which, I mean, technically it counts, right? It's a new game. It's just very, very similar to Overwatch 1. So Overwatch 2 is essentially Overwatch 1, just with you know, a few different tweaks and hero upgrades and stuff. Yeah, but it's essentially the same as Overwatch 1. It plays pretty much the same way, but technically it is a different game, so it counts. Right, and I like playing Overwatch 2 just like I like playing Overwatch 1. I usually main D.Va. He's like my main hero here, and it's one of those games that's multiplayer only, so you have to be online for it. And you team up with a bunch of guys, and you try to basically defend or attack. So there's these different scenarios where you either defend something or you attack something. Basically, it requires a lot of team play. Right. And also the heroes that you're playing, right? Definitely requires you to kind of master the heroes that you're playing and know all their strengths and weaknesses and stuff. But anyways, I played the original Overwatch quite a bit. I didn't play Overwatch 2 quite as much, just because I was playing way more games at this time and didn't have as much time for Overwatch 2. But you know, still enjoyed it. Still the classic Overwatch gameplay, and still fun and addictive to play online with friends. So yeah, Overwatch 2 makes my list. It actually made my list of my top 30 FPS games as well. So yeah. Yeah, and definitely, just like all of the Blizzard games, it gets addictive. So yeah, definitely, if you're gonna play with friends or just people online, it can get pretty addictive to play. But
let me hear the whole game.
It's a good game. Definitely, if you guys have played some of the Heroes of Overwatch 2, definitely check it out. It pretty much replaces Overwatch, so you can just straight up go into play Overwatch 2 now, play Overwatch. Because it plays pretty similar to Overwatch. Like, it's almost like the same game. It's just like a tweaked version of Overwatch, essentially. Anyways, yeah, definitely one of my favorite games of 2022 as well. Alright, so getting my top 5 here. Number 5 is Horizon Forbidden West, which is a sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. So this is an action RPG, I guess you could call it. Yeah, that's, well, I would say it's set in this kind of fantasy but also sci-fi universe, where it contains these robotic dinosaurs, actually, but it also contains a lot of fantasy elements as well. So a lot of things about this game, I think Horizon Forbidden West kind of got a little bit overshadowed when it came out because of Elden Ring, but it's still a great game. You know, this game in no way I think should deserve to be overshadowed by Elden Ring, because I think that yeah, Horizon Forbidden West is a great game. It's a great looking game, like one of the best looking games of its era. Just really, really beautiful. I played this on PS5, and yeah, it's basically just continues on from the story of the first one, right? So if you guys like playing Zero Dawn, which is a great game too, then you'll like playing Forbidden West, because it really just, you know, expands upon the story of Zero Dawn and continues from there. So it's a true sequel in those ways. So yeah, what can I say about Forbidden West? It's beautiful looking, and the mechanics and everything are done really well, right? You have some stealthier parts of the game where you try to sneak past the robotic dinosaurs and stuff, and then you also have you know, elements of mystery and exploration as well, just exploring this beautiful, mysterious land that you're in. And this, I would say this is definitely a little bit more, yeah, colorful looking than the first game, Zero Dawn, I would say. Yeah, then you discover like this technology here, which is like, I guess, ancient technology at this time, but appear like as holograms.
Now you've seen what we're building here.
Yeah, overall, I have to say that, again, if you like Zero Dawn, then Forbidden West is just more of that. So it's overall a great game. I enjoy playing Zero Dawn, so I liked Forbidden West as well. So here I'm just doing some stealth, trying to avoid these robotic dinosaur creatures here. Yeah, so you got stealthier parts. You also got, you know, more combat if you want as well. Really depends on how you choose to approach this game. And yeah, you got the exploration parts, which are almost like Tomb Raider like, I would say. Or Uncharted like, I would say. There's some Uncharted type sequences in this game too, so there's some of that as well.
Come on.
So it has a bit of everything. It has a bit of combat, stealth, adventure. And yeah, of course, it's a beautiful looking game. So Horizon Forbidden West definitely, I think, deserves a little bit more attention than it actually got.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I think this game deserved a little bit more love.
Long time.
Alright, so number 4 got Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So this is the third game in the Xenoblade Chronicles series, and exclusively for the Switch, because it's pretty much Monolith Soft is Nintendo's second-party developer, I believe. So they only make the games for Nintendo consoles. But yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles, probably... Actually, I like the second one a lot too. But yeah, third one is a great game, and I think IGN actually included it on their list of top 25 greatest JRPGs. I think they included Xenoblade Chronicles 3 in it. Which is, I mean, I personally wouldn't, like, this isn't like one of my top 25 JRPGs personally, but I can't dispute that it's still a great JRPG, right? So it still deserves to be on, you know, on this list, because I do think that this game, the thing is, like, you need a lot of time investment to play Xenoblade Chronicles 3, especially because this game is so long, right? All the Xenoblade Chronicles games take a while, but especially 3, like this one, just, yeah, it's you need a lot of time and energy devoted into finishing this game, because it is a lot of content in this game. But yeah, I think overall, the characters, the story, the music, presentation of this game is done very, very well. So pretty deserving of all the high acclaim and yeah, critical praise it received. Yeah, I think it's a good game. Just, it wasn't personally one of my favorite JRPGs, but I can understand why people really liked it though. So anyways, objectively, I think this deserves to be this high, right, in 2022. You could say that there are aspects of Live Alive I like better, and Chrono Cross I like better than this game. But overall, just for the sheer amount of content in this game, and yeah, the amount of effort that the developers put into this game, I think it deserves to be this high. So anyways, Xenoblade Chronicles, if you guys like the series, definitely, if you haven't played 3 yet, play 3. I mean, it's probably the meatiest out of them all, but yeah, it's worth playing. So definitely deserves to be on a list of best games from 2022, in my opinion. Okay, so number 3 is God of War Ragnarok. This is a game that got many Game of the Year nominations. It was pretty much this and Elden Ring in competition for Game of the Year. I mean, there was some other games like Stray, for example. Yeah, but I don't think like that was too serious of a contender for Game of the Year. I do think that, yeah, God of War Ragnarok, definitely deserving of the praise. I personally wouldn't pick it over Elden Ring. But I can see why a lot of people would like God of War Ragnarok better, because certainly story-wise, God of War Ragnarok is better. Now combat is a different story. I think God of War has great combat as well. It's just a different sort of combat compared to a FromSoft game because you have more cinematic sequences, more quick time events, things like that. I personally prefer the FromSoft combat more, but definitely if you've been playing God of War, then you know how cinematic the combat in God of War games are. So yeah, God of War Ragnarok improves upon the original 2018 God of War, I think. And the original 2018 God of War was a Game of the Year contender as well. So, you know, Ragnarok just improves upon that. Still playing as Kratos and then his son and everything. And then, yeah, the whole rebooted series, and this is part of the reboot series, you can say that Kratos and Atreus have this, very tight bond. It's just like father and son game, basically. I think that's why they call it Dad of War. Yeah, that's what some people called God of War, the rebooted series, Dad of War, because pretty much you're just acting like the dad the whole time. But yeah, the combat, pretty great, very cinematic. You're in this Norse setting, because that's where the rebooted God of War takes place is in the Norse mythology. The original God of War games take place in the Greece, right? The ancient Greek mythology, but this switched to the Norse mythology for the rebooted version. And yeah, Ragnarok just continues off the story, and it was a Game of the Year contender for 2022. What can I say? Great graphics, combat is challenging, and not quite as challenging. Well, I should say this: a different kind of challenging than FromSoft games. It's still challenging, but maybe not quite up to the same level. It's well, more cinematic, and you have more focus on story compared to FromSoft games. So you got like trade-offs, you know. I personally did not put this as my Game of the Year, but definitely it is the top 3 game. I think that was released in 2022, so I have it in my top 3. Yeah, great game. Alright, so my number 2 is Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster, and I know this is kind of cheating because this game is not a game that was released originally in 2022. But it does count because it's a re-release and it's a remaster, and remasters count, I think, in my opinion. So yeah, anyways, I know this game was originally released in 1994. It's considered an all-time great JRPG, and yeah, it still is, right? Personally, I think Final Fantasy VI, if you were to ask me which mainline Final Fantasy game is my favorite, I would pick FF6. If you asked me overall, I think Final Fantasy Tactics or Tactics Advance. Yeah, if you don't include the non-mainline games, and if you just say, oh yeah, just mainline games, Final Fantasy VI is probably my favorite. Yes, I like it better than 7, I like it better than 9, I like it better than 10, and 4. I think those are the other popular ones as well. Yeah, I think 6 is the greatest. This is the peak of 2D Final Fantasy games. What can I say? Like, everything about this game is pretty much a masterpiece. All the different characters, especially the villain, Kefka, who is extremely memorable. Yeah, all the different characters, the story, including the fact that, like, man, you play this game and the bad guy actually wins. Like, wow, that just kind of blows your mind, right? The bad guy actually wins and he takes over the world, right? How often does that actually happen in video games? So that actually happens in Final Fantasy VI. And then you basically have to, yeah, regroup together and defeat him. Yeah, it's just everything about Final Fantasy VI great. The music, of course, the beginning, opening animation, like, yeah, so many great memories with Final Fantasy VI. And so the original game did come out in 1994, but because this is the latest remaster of Final Fantasy VI, and that came out 2022 for PC, that's why I'm including this in this list here, because it technically counts, right? This is a remaster that came out in 2022. Yeah. What else can I really say? I like everyone else who's played Final Fantasy VI knows how great it is. Considered one of the greatest JRPGs of the 16-bit era, and just really ever. Yeah. Great characters, great story, very memorable villain, music, combat. The combat's a classic Final Fantasy combat, you know, turn-based, side perspective. Yeah, not much else to say other than just it's an all-time masterpiece, and this is probably the way to play it now. Now, I think some people might have something to say about the Pixel Remaster, because okay, the text boxes I noticed are a little bit too clean looking. Like, yeah, the fonts and everything looks like they came from the mobile version. The actual pixelated graphics itself is okay, I think. That's done okay. It's just the text boxes and font that maybe bothers me just a little bit. It's a little bit too clean, like too modern. Looks like it came from a mobile phone version. So that's the only thing that bothers me. Otherwise, the graphics themselves look good. It's just yeah, these little boxes down here. It's a little bit too clean looking for me. That wouldn't have been how it is back in the day. It wouldn't be this clean looking. But the actual graphics themselves are good. I think that's done in a much better style than the mobile version. I don't like the mobile version at all. So, anyways, if you guys are into playing FF6, which you should, because it's a masterpiece, definitely check out the Pixel Remaster. It's the latest version of it. Okay, and my number one game of 2022 shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. It's Elden Ring. I mean, this won many Game of the Year awards, and it was my Game of the Year too. I played many hours of Elden Ring with my brother. We actually beat the game, and currently, I don't think we've completely beat the Shadow of the Erdtree expansion, but we're close to beating it. There's only one villain left, which is yeah. So they reused they reused Radahn again for Miquella. But anyways, yeah, I haven't got to Miquella yet. Eventually we will beat him. But we did beat the main game, right? We beat Elden Beast. We even beat Millennia, who is infamous as one of the hardest villains in Elden Ring.
Oh no.
Oh man.
Oh my god, I was literally full health too.
But yeah, what can I say about this game that has been said already? Because this game is it's amazing. Like it's the sprawling open world of this game. It's a sense of exploration, the combat, really everything in this game. Like wow, I think
probably not as popular.
Went to this is another incredible boss fight.
It's definitely got
yeah, this is Placidux, I think. Yeah, Placidux is amazing. Look at this, Dragon Lord Placidux. Oh my god, the double-headed dragon here.
Better to have something long range.
Yeah, so the graphics, the design of the monsters, like insane.
And then he has these like long range
the open world of this game, like the endless amounts of exploration you can do in this game. The combat, right, which you have to master in order to beat the enemies. Yeah, I think it's really the sense of exploration and also the satisfying combat that really gets me to Elden Ring. Like, I never was that much into, like, say, Bloodborne or Sekiro or Dark Souls, but Elden Ring, because it added that open world aspects to it, just kind of changes everything, you know?
Like, one hit does,
yeah.
almost kills
so, anyways, Elden Ring is my Game of the Year for 2022 because it is that great. I mean, it's an all-time great game. I have it number 2 on my all-time JRPGs, actually.
Bosses, right? So, it's not like he's more secret than her.
Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna say I played this game so much with my brother. Yeah, I remember just like exploring all these different lands and just going everywhere to figure out, you know, if there's some secret there, some hidden secret there. Oh, this is when we were fighting a fire giant. Oh my god, that guy took forever to beat. But yeah, just like running across these different open fields and stuff, just marveling at the sense of
I didn't actually realize that was
the design, all the crazy looking monsters, and the beautiful design of the game. You know, there's some areas that are just absolutely gorgeous in this game, especially Lunia and Sophia River. So those are all great areas. Crumbling Fair Mausoleum's great as well. Those are all great areas. Yeah.
That was frustrating, but satisfying.
Yeah, so everything about this game, the open world design, the enemy design, the combat.
Yeah. Do you know, so if we progress, does that like
the whole sense of exploration?
Like when does Leyndell become Ash Capital?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Like, can we go to Fair Missoula before it becomes Ash Capital?
No, actually.
I want to finish that.
Yeah, I think this is. Oh man, yeah, this is Crumbling Fair Missoula here.
Dragons are just regular.
All these dragons just to freaking attack you right off the bat here. Yeah.
All these here, they're just regular enemies.
Oh my god. Anyways, what a great game. All-time great game for me. So anyways, shouldn't be a surprise, it tops my list here. That's it guys, that's my favorite, my top 30 games for 2022. Let me know what you guys think of my list in the comment section below, whether you agree or disagree with it, and what things you would change, what games you might add or, you know, take away. Alright, that's it guys, thanks for watching.